Yeah, what's up? What's up?
Hey, I did. My internet went out. I'm back.
Oh, it's all good.
Yep, I'm restarting the stream now. It should be live. Uh,
It's all
yep. We'll
good.
we'll give it a second before we continue and see if they make it back in. Go ahead and see if it's live. Should be live. Yep. Something happened. I'm back. Yep. Sorry, my internet went out. I got Spectrum needed or whatever. Damn, that's gonna split it. Our first 3 hour show and we got split at 3 hours. Fuck. Right at 3 hours too. Pretty interesting timing on that DC.
I saw,
Um,
saw that. Yeah, we're right at 3 hours exactly.
yeah. Okay. So everything looks like we're back to normal here. What's triggering the OCD? Was it a funny Einstein cartoon? Oh, the thing that Jim made. I don't know. Did this link go through? Cause I'm not sure when I DC'd, but this is the link that to Jim's video that I was talking about earlier, where he made the April Fool's video. All right. Okay. And let me make sure the Twitch chat thing is working correctly real quick. Because it's supposed to do 2 and 1, but I'm not, just want to make sure I have it set up correctly, make sure nobody was actually talking. Cool, everything seems to be good to go on that. No chatters in the Twitch chat. Okay. Oh, that would have been a great opportunity to test it though. Let's go back. Okay. Okay. All right. Sorry, that was bugging me. Had to find out if that worked or not. Okay. So everyone's back. I got it now. Look forward to watching it, Jim. Nice, Jim. You're picking up what's the word I'm looking for? What's it called when people watch your stuff? You there, Jim?
Yeah, I'm right here. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna continue on and read a little more of this paper. See what we can find out.
Sounds awesome.
What we've learned so far is that Charles St. John is a really good person. Oh, a viewer and subs, right? Yeah, you're picking up subs and viewers.
Okay.
Um,
I'm listening and enjoying your early years of relativity.
yeah, dude. So what we learned so far is yeah, St. John was not having that shit. He was not gonna lie about it. He was a man of integrity. I'm just guessing, since he didn't go along with the lie or change his mind upon request when Eddington begged him. So place. Where's my place? Okay, yeah, right here. Einstein effect. Many competent physicists. No, okay, here we go. This page. Start from sentence. The discussion follows. The discussion that followed did not always illuminate the theory. They certainly made vivid what the theorist of the day believed about it. Many competent physicists naturally found grounds for objecting to the purported derivations of the less competent ones found them an invitation to raise muddled arguments against the theory. The discussions that followed did not always illuminate the theory. but they certainly made vivid to what the theorists of the day believed about it. In this paper, we propose to examine both attempted derivations of the redshift and the reactions of the theorists and the theorist to the observational test. The examination engages not only the issue in the history and the sociology of science, but also points to the physics and the mathematics in the questions of the scientific methodology. Damn, this paper might be a banger. It's already pretty decent. Well, this approach threatens to make this presentation unwieldy. There is simply no alternative if one wants to understand the real importance of the debates about redshift. Absolutely. The main historical focus of this paper will be on the period from 1902, the date of Einstein's first prediction of the redshift, through the early 1920s, when the opinions of both of the theorists of the experimentalist and the experimentalist tended to stabilize, but some consideration of both prior to the prior background and the later developments is needed to round out the picture. Section 1 examines the attempts by Einstein and others base the spectral shift directly on the principle of equivalence, or on some combination of the quantum principle and the conservation of energy. Damn, dog. Section 2 details from Section 2 details from some details. Section 2 details some of the many fallacious formal derivations of the spectral shift within the completed general theory and traces the confusions and uncertainty that they cause. Yeah, hold on. I got to open up my note thing. We're going to have to take some notes here, dog, while we're doing this. Was it after thingy? After host. 1 second. Oh shit. And note. What's this paper called? Can't remember. Gravitational Redshift by D. Kinfick. It's close. Not bad. I remembered some of it. All right. Section 1. Actually, I'm only on fucking page 2. What? Oh, this is the new paper. Sorry, I'm blacking out here, guys. My bad. Let's see here. I'm back for those. Page 2. All right. Section 2 details some of the many fallacious formal derivations of the spectral shift within the complete general theory and traces the confusion and uncertainties they cause. Section 3 presents Sidney's treatment of the energy of the photon and the gravitational field in his photon frequency definition of the spectral shift. And part 4. Damn. I had something in my glasses. You know when you have that one little thing on your glasses and you just can't fucking see?
Now wipe it down.
Bro. Ridiculous. All right. Okay. So let's see. Spectral shift. So this guy talks about how he describes the photon to explain the phenomenon. Section 4 reviews the observational evidence up to the 1920s. Section 5 discusses the reaction of the theorists, especially in England, to the evidence. Section 6 assesses the status of the spectral shift predictions as a test of the general theory of relativity, and in particular, the claim that while a negative observation would result in a strong evidence against the theory, a positive result is worth little evidence for the theory. Oh, that'll be interesting because I'm of the exact opposite appearing. So all I did was make the situation with my glasses worse, and now I have to actually take time to address it. So I apologize. I apologize. Give me 1 second. Crazy. Kind of smeared it. Come on. Jim, how do you feel about a little mathematic finessing if you don't get the result that you wanted to? Imagine your wife asking you to take out the trash, or some shit. Jim, put the dishes up and, take out the trash. And you were like, yeah, according to this math equation, like, can't do any of that. And, if you're trying to accuse me of not doing it, I'm just going to say that I'm just going to invoke superposition and say I already did it and you can't prove it. You just started lying to her with math and shit. What do you like? How do you think, like, what would happen, you think?
Well, what I say is I invoke the Lorentz transform and she leaves me alone.
Oh, you contract her distance away from you?
I
Or I'm
transform
sorry,
it.
you dilated, I mean?
I use the Lorentz transform, and she says, "Well, that is a math equation that makes sense. Thank you very much."
Yeah, she immediately adheres to it, submits authority.
She goes,
Nice.
"Don't worry about it. Go back and watch TV." And I go, "Thank you."
Absolutely.
That's how it works.
I think that's it. Okay, here we go. So now I can see without any blurring or glare. So we will continue. Yeah, it's really interesting if you could just hit somebody with a math equation and like their brain just shuts off and they just do whatever you tell them to do.
What happens?
It's very interesting. So, let's see where we leave off at. Section 7 discusses attempts to interpret the spectral. Oh, yeah. So, dude was saying, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. Spectral. Section 7 discusses attempts to interpret the spectral shift as a Doppler effect, alternatively, as a non Doppler gravitational phenomenon. Interesting. Section 8 provides a summary. In conclusion, various mathematical details are found in the appendixes. Very nice. Heuristic, is that like Hermes Trismegistic derivations?
Hermes
Her,
Trismegistus, yes.
Hermes Trismegistic derivations of the redshift. For the early history of Einstein's predictions, the gravitational redshift, as so often in physics, Hermes Trismegistic's derivations had a far greater importance than the precise mathematical demonstration. So the Hermes Trismegistus, so the majesticness around the equations is more important than the preciseness of how precise the equation is actually representing reality. Great strategy, Jim. Mathematical, mathematical. I have no idea why I'm struggling so hard with that word, but I think everyone gets it. What do you think, Jim? Mathemagical?
It's math. Yes, it's math magical. Yes, MAGH.
I kept wanting to hard pronounce the T. I was like, magical.
That's
I'm
how you do it.
crazy. Yeah. So let's see. So, in the case of the redshift, however, the suggestiveness and the fruitfulness of the Hermes Trismegistus derivations uh, were counterbalanced by the confusion that engendered some of the effects which lingered on even in present day. Einstein's initial derivations, God, that word gets me every time. Einstein's initial derivations, given several years before the final formulation of the general theory of relativity, rested on the principle of equivalence. This principle was useful both in guiding him toward his goal, a a satisfactory relativistic theory of gravitation and allowing him to make bold predictions before he was even within sight of that goal. Let's see. So what did that guy just say? Einstein's initial derivations, given several years before the final formulation of his theory and tested, rested on the principle of equivalence. This principle was both useful. Oh yeah, so he could just broadly apply everything and make it relative with the transformations. So he could, using the equivalence principle, he could say, because it's this way on Earth, it must be this way, 50 bajillion trillion light years away. And that allowed him to impose conditions on his coordinate system that allowed him to make bold predictions before he was even within the goal of expressing that the conditions he was imposing on space-time were even be physically meaningful. Very cool. But it is exactly the Hermes Trismegistic fruitfulness of the principle of equivalence that tends to obscure the final theory, or obscure what the final theory says about the redshift. Many attempts have been made to remove the looseness and vagueness of the principle that preceded a general theory of relativity and to find some precise counterpart within a complete theory, but there is still much disagreement on this matter. And in almost all of the attempts, the precision is purchased at the price of the original Hermes Trismegistus power. As in the many other cases, a certain amount of imprecision and vagueness seems indispensable. Our task, however, is not that of assessing the validity of the principle of equivalence and that the subsequent developments, but rather yeah, absolutely. Have a good night, Rebecca. Good night. Sleep tight, or whatever they say. Sleep fast. I heard someone say that once, so now I kind of say it. Let's see. So the vagueness seems indispensable of how blah, 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 Einstein uses. Oh, okay. So vagueness seems indispensable. Our task, however, is not that of assessing the validity of the equivalence principle, so they're not okay. The subsequent developments, but rather that of describing how Einstein used it and how it affected attitudes towards the. We get into like arguments about what would happen in this reference frame in accordance to the equivalence principle and shit. It's pretty interesting. So. And and this is, keep in mind, this is so like the equivalence principle. All of the effects of physics would be the same in every reference frame. So how when they apply the reference frame of the sun to the Earth from the Michelson-Morley experiment, for example. Jim,
What's that? I'm sorry.
So how they apply the results of the Michelson-Morley experiment to fuck, I can't even remember now.
Michelson-Morley, 1887, and it's an interferometer experiment.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was going with it. Let's continue on.
Yeah,
The fifth and final part of Einstein's 1907 essay on the equivalence principle. That's what it was about. It had something to do with the equivalence principle. It was, let's see if I can remember here. Drawing a blank.
Yeah, me too, because the equivalence principle, I don't know if it had too much to do with Michelson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Equivalence principle. So how they say the laws of physics apply to all reference frame, right? So how they say that the reference frame of the sun, or like that's the transformation that they take or whatever, to say that there was length contraction in the direction of the motion of the sun from the sun's perspective, but from our perspective, the contraction would have already happened. So what we measured is the no result, but it's actually a positive result because the device contracted at the exact amount that would be required to explain why it didn't give a result in accordance with the Einstein prediction. Whew, that's a lot. It's a whole thing to say and get through, but you know what I'm talking about. So the equivalence principle is saying that, you know, the speed of light is the same from the reference frame of the sun, and it doesn't matter how fast the Earth is moving towards or away from the sun, and it doesn't matter if you're on the reference frame of the sun. It doesn't matter how fast the light from the sun is traveling towards or away from the Earth. It's all going to be at the constant speed of c. But the coordinate system itself, so the length, width, depth, and time units can all be relative and can all be described as contracting within the coordinate system. And this is all expressed mathematically, and justified how they got into this coordinate system is by a guy taking 2 photographs during an eclipse and saying that it proved all these theories when they were doing experiments the entire time and observations the entire time. That gave a direct refutation. Relativity theory, just giving a quick update on everything and explanation on the equivalence principle and how they apply it.
Yeah, you basically said it. They didn't see what they wanted on Michelson Morley, so they took the motion of the Earth with going around the sun, and not the perpendicular light, but the light going around the sun, and they contracted it just enough
Yep.
so it would make it look like that their prediction. And so when they did length contraction, it was Texas sharpshooter reverse engineered pre-assumed assumptions so they could keep their ball and not have to say it was a nil result and the motion of the Earth around the sun is nil.
It can
And then you have to get back to the sidereal rotation of the Earth, which translates motion down to the ground. And we have no outer space monkey religion. We have just us.
It's really fascinating that it contracted by the exact amount that would be required to produce this anomalous result that would make people think that the Earth is stationary. Isn't it weird how physics is always conspiring to prove a stationary, non-moving, level plane? Whether you look at examples of long distance observations with refraction, which I don't even consider to be super solid evidence, is really, now obviously there's some where the curvature is just like insane, right? Where it would be like you're seeing buildings at a far distance, like in Chicago, for example, the Lake Pontchartrain stuff, what was it? The Black Swan stuff, like all those are like cool and everything, but that's in their paradigm, they have the wiggle room to outright be like, nah, you know what I mean? And that's really frustrating because, you guys go through a lot of detail in preparation going out to make these observations. And well, when you get them, they're hand wave dismissed when they're not in favor of the globe, and they're unequivocally accepted when they favor the globe. Or even when they don't favor the globe, they'll claim that they still favor the globe based on a simulation where they can simulate conditions of refraction where, billions and quadrillions and zillions of photons traveling in all directions uniformly through probability and random happenstance while interacting with the molecular structure of air and water vapor in the medium of the background of which air is traveling through out here on Earth. It interacts with it in such a way, these photons, that it lifts up the entire image of Earth around the curvature and produces planar observations. Isn't it weird that that just keeps happening? To the point where the cosmos themselves, right, the heavens themselves, are directly contradicting globular presuppositions.
Yeah, they want their ball. A Globerville, the average person doesn't really care. They're brainwashed from age 5. But Globerville, population 5,000, residents of the internet, and established recently, they want their balls. They'll do what they can, and their leaders are Loon
Yeah.
and not Professor Dave. That's who it is.
Fascinating stuff.
Do,
So
do, we've been going about what 3 hours 20 minutes now. Do you want to make this a nice episode one, and we'll come back another time?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just looking at the how long we've been live and all that and figuring out if we should go ahead and just call it here and pick this up on another date. So
Yeah,
I
sure.
don't know how you feel about a schedule, Jim, but like I really don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. Whenever you want to go live, you just want to send it or what?
Yeah, we can plan. What is today? Sunday. We can plan until we get one direction or another. We can plan Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, or Wednesday or Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, until we decide we don't, we want to go once a week instead of twice a week. But if you want to go, we have lots of material. I have lots of material. You have a ton of material, obviously. So I don't care if we go, if we go Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, or Sunday, Thursday, Sunday until further notice.
Awesome, dude. So we'll get that figured out and see if we can get a schedule or if this will just be spontaneous whenever we're not doing anything. Um,
Mhm.
'Cause I like reading these all the time, and I'm glad everyone was enjoying it. And I had a lot of fun interacting with the chat and stuff. And we all got to learn together. And the more you talk about this stuff and read it and go over
Yep.
it, the faster you learn it. I learned a great deal of shit just going over all this again for the 400th time. I started
Excellent.
having realizations about this Fraunhofer line shit and these solar these additional observations that St. John's did to make preparations to account for um the uh the uh the lack of displacement, right? Because they kept getting nothing. And they were like, what's going on here? Is it maybe some gas or something that is interfering? Nothing, my dude. And that's all described by this. I mean, this whole thing is a fucking body bag. So so yeah, that's really interesting to look into. So I can't wait to find out more about um what they were talking about in the opener for this, where they were saying we're going to talk about how people are saying this is an absolute body bag, and how some people were saying that even if they proved it, it wouldn't be a good proof. So like we're about to get a whole new understanding of arguments from this paper, hopefully, and I look forward to continuing that research and and helping other people learn it and master it, because these are the lies that they use to have mastery over the sky and get people to submit to math equations that are physically meaningless. So we're gonna go ahead and end on that. Jim, do you have any social media stuff you want to plug, or your channel? I can pull up your link again real quick.
I think the only thing I'll DM you and make sure that we have the correct link to this.
Yeah,
To
I'll put it in the description as well. Okay.
Yeah, and you do
Actually,
that
yeah,
because
I'm
I'll go.
falling asleep. I'm fucking blacking out, dog.
Yeah, you're almost at 3:30. So
Yeah.
I'll tomorrow when I get the link, I'll take and get my business cards finalized and get them out. I just need to. It looks like we're going to use. This is just you and me talking. It
Yeah.
looks like
Well,
we're
and
use.
an audience still live, but
It looks like we're going to use for our address space audits number 5 AMJM. Is that right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, the way I did the format for it, I just went with this for now, but I'll probably change it from a space audits session to, well, no, maybe not. But I will include. Oh, this isn't even the right video, dog. I'm so fucking out of it. I named it Space Audits Number 5, the AMJM show, the AMJM show, and that stands for the Alan-Michelson and Jim Morley show.
Yeah, so if I can put that on business cards,
Yeah,
I have them done tomorrow. But I'll
absolutely.
put YouTube colon space audits number 5 the AMJM show, and that's where people can find us.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, I'll get some taglines or something set up so that that can be like an addable thing and all that. But all right, man, I'm gonna get off here and go to bed, dog. I'm out.
Everybody take care, and thanks very much, Alan. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, peace, everyone. Enjoy. Have a good night.
Take care.